Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, this is definitely another movie where a lot happens. We're kind of continuing the storylines that were previously established at the end of Age of Ultron, where Thor gets the visions of Ragnarok and the world ending things. So he decides to find out more about the Infinity Stones, but then we kind of end that storyline and then we kind of focus more on Ragnarok. So we have Thor kind of in the custody of Surtur, but obviously he breaks free, defeats Surtur, thinking that he ended Ragnarok, and then takes the crown with him back to Asgard. But then when he comes back to Asgard, he sees that Loki is in disguise as Odin. He's taken over. Heimdall's nowhere to be seen. And now this new character named Scourge is now in charge of the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge that is a way for the Asgardians to teleport anywhere in the universe. So he's like, wait, what the heck's going on? But kind of suspects that Loki's doing some trickery. He exposes Odin as actually Loki in disguise. And then they have this whole mission in order to actually find Odin, to find out like what's going on. They go to Earth because they get in contact with Doctor Strange, and that scene was previously established at the end of Doctor Strange in the whole mid-credit scene, and how they need to find Odin so that he can rule Asgard again. And then we get the whole plot twist that he's actually in Norway, and that there's this whole secret that he's been keeping, the fact that he was actually a conqueror with Hela, played by Kate Blanchett, who's Thor and Loki's sister, and that they were conquerors, but then Hela just wanted power, so then Odin imprisoned her. But then if Odin dies, then she'll be released, so that he dies and then fades away, and then Hela gets established. Loki and Thor are trying to get back to Asgard, and they open the Bifrost, but then Hela gets transported back to Asgard and wipes all the Warriors 3 and all these different important characters out, and becomes the new ruler of Asgard, while Thor and Loki are sent to the planet of Sakaar, and they're separated, and Thor is like, the whole journey is like him trying to get back to Asgard, gets captured by Scrapper 142, who turns out to be Valkyrie, who's important later on, and then taken to the Grandmaster, played by Jeff Goldblum, who puts him into the contest of champions, and in order to buy his way out of Sakaar, he has to defeat the champion, who turns out to be the Hulk, who gets revealed after he went off to the Quinjet, crashed onto Sakaar, and became the Grandmaster's champion. So they fight, but then kind of becomes like a stalemate because Thor uses the power, because he's the God of Thunder, to defeat Hulk, but then, he gets this control chip on his neck, and then gets activated and he gets subdued. So then he wakes up, meets up with Hulk again. Hulk tells him about that the Quinjet is out in the scrapyard, goes into the Quinjet. Hulk follows him, sees the message from Nat, and then he transforms back into Bruce Banner, and then they team up with Loki and Valkyrie to board one of the pleasure vessels in order to get back to Asgard. They recruit Korg and Meek to start a revolution and come back to Asgard. Loki tries to betray him, so Thor puts the whole controller chip on his neck and subdues him. So then Thor, Valkyrie, and Hulk go back to Asgard. They finally challenge Hela, but then obviously she's too powerful, so then she cuts out Thor's eye, and then Thor has the vision of Odin saying that they have to just start up Ragnarok in order to defeat Hela. So then Loki returns with Korg and Meek and the revolutionaries, and they fight Hela's army, but then Thor tells Loki to put Surtur's helmet into the eternal flame to start off Ragnarok, and then in Odin's vault he sees the Tesseract, and then he swipes that. So then Surtur's reborn, plants his sword into Ragnarok, it gets destroyed, Hela's killed off, and all the Asgardians are sent onto the Statesman, and they kind of fly away from Asgard. And then Thor has the whole idea of going back to Earth to establish a new Asgard, and I think it's going to be a happy ending. But then we get to the mid-credit scene of Thanos' ship, the Sanctuary 2, kind of rising up in front of them, and they're kind of like, oh shoot. And then that kind of leads us into Infinity War. But before we get to Infinity War, we have Black Panther, which I kind of wish that we kind of reversed it. I kind of wish we had Black Panther and then Thor Ragnarok, because then Thor Ragnarok can lead right into Infinity War. But yeah, oh well. So that's the end of Thor Ragnarok, and then it's definitely, overall just one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm glad that they finally made Thor fun again, and I'm glad they kind of somewhat kept that tone for the future movies. But yeah, overall, great movie.